more. Singapore haven't conceded, whereas the Indonesians did. So the goal count against the whipping boys means Singapore are better off than the team that they'll face in the last match on Wednesday, the Indonesians. But Radi Abramovic is not resting on his laurels. He has made a very positive switch. Muhammad Ridhuan, scorer of the first goal for Singapore, not only in this game but in this whole tournament, comes off, and Muhammad Khairul Amri, the forward, comes on for a right midfielder, which means that he's going to play three up fronts. Immediately there's some space for Indra Sharan. The cross comes in, looking for Noh Alam Shah, and almost turned into his own goal. We've already seen an own goal today scored by Indonesia in the match against Vietnam. And Kamsai Namtaviksi almost scored an own goal there. So he tried to divert that cross behind for a corner kick. In the end, it did turn out that way. And they've started the same way, the Lions, in the second half as they did in the first, just pressing right from the off. 3 goals might not be enough, especially they don't know what's going to happen in the last game against Indonesia. And Vietnam haven't played Laos yet. Laotians try to break out with the captain, Visai Papadopoulos. He's been their outlets every time balls sprayed forward. Daniel Bennett has gone to the right for a short little while, having stayed up for a corner, and he'll make his way back to his left back slot now. This is Senakon Vieng for a ball. Indra Sharan once again making the room, falling back a little bit with Khairul Amri in the team. He'll play in a more attacking midfielder's role. A cross comes in! It's only 1.5 minutes in the second half, and they put another goal on the scoreboard, courtesy of Shahril Ishak, and his first goal of this championships. He scored in the last campaign, most notably in the semi-finals against Myanmar, and his tactics have worked. His sends the Laotians just tiring, especially after the first 45 minutes and after the exertions against Indonesia. And in the second 45, that positive switch has rung true for Singapore. Shi Jiayi laying it off for Hafiz Osman on his debut for the Lions, pinging a superb ball, just fizzing it across goal, just outside the 6-yard box. Goalkeeper finding it so hard to get to it. Nightmare for the defenders. Any touch from them would have diverted it into their own goal. The last touch did come from a man in blue, and that's Shahril Ishak. Well, I did say that he is definitely one player for the future. If he continues the way he has been doing over the last 3 or 4 years, with a little improvement in his form and his ability, can turn out into one of the best players not only Singapore has ever produced, but one of the best players in this whole region of Southeast Asia. That's how highly I think of the Singapore number 17. Just got to add that little bit of consistency in his game. He can do it over a certain patch and period of a game. That lapse in concentration can be very telling. He goes quiet in games, he goes very, very silent. You can almost hear a pin drop. Khairul Amri has done well, and he's tripped from behind by number 6, first yellow card in the game for Chandrapon Liampise. And it's his first yellow card of the competition too. Well, Khairul's come on for Muhammad Ridhuan, and Muhammad Ridhuan will go down in the Singapore history facts and figures chart. That question comes up: who's the scorer of the first Singapore goal in the 2007 edition of the ASEAN Football Championships? Muhammad Ridhuan has written his name into certain folklore, especially if they go on to win this tournament. The free kick wasn't too happy, and it does come in the end, but it was just far too deep to make anything out of it for Khairul Amri. Radi Abramovic wasn't too happy with the delivery of that free kick from Shi Jiayi. Made his point known. Just got up very quickly. Still had an opportunity, Khairul. The top scoring local footballer in the S League, Khairul Amri. In fact, he finished second top scorer in the league, just behind Woodlands' Blackheart Abdul Hadi. Indra Sharan easily ghosting past his opponent as if they're not even there. Playing in this deeper role. very well so far. Mustafa Farudin is finding no way around a very tight Laotian defense, something that you can't really claim to have, especially when it goes down the flanks. They seem to be lost there. Su Jiayi getting the better of Kason. This looks very lightweight. Let's put out for another corner kick to Singapore. It's time by Senakon again. Kam Chai, number 4, and Senakon getting the number 8. Well, they've really been communicating over time, just finding no way preventing these Singapore crosses from coming in. It's one thing that they haven't done well yet. It's to deliver a corner well enough to score a goal from. It's going to be another corner. The short ones are not working. It was justified against Vietnam. And even the long ones, they just haven't been able to get it past the first defender. Shahril. Poor defense by Laos. Shahril keeps it alive with a looping ball, which Indra does well to control. Nice little touch off. Alam Shah fumbles in the penalty box, but it's a far-fetched claim for a penalty against Suksaman Manmanivong. It would have been very cruel to give a penalty against the Laotians as well. The sort of energy that they've committed defensively in this game against a Lions side that's just moving forward with so much ease. Daniel Bennett getting the better of his markers so easily and winning a corner from Sisompon Satanyot. They do look tired, don't they, the Laotians? Heads are down, body postures are just not right. And they do have the last game against Vietnam. They're very big rivals, which they'll dearly love to win. 6 corners now to Singapore. Shahril Ishak with another poor one, and he's known for his deliveries as well. Easily taken away. Here's another opportunity to get this cross in. Much better cross this time round. And it's headed over by Indra, I think it was. Yes, Singapore's captain for the night, Indra Sharandaud. What an evening it is for Singapore's best-known local footballer. Some quarters who are shouting the double L of Lionel Lewis as well. They could say that too. I guess sometimes the strikers just get applauded, don't they? And rightly so too. Indra's been at this for a decade now, and it's really been at his game for about a decade now, giving great service to the Singapore national side. The goals that he's plundered over the years. And it's not only the goals that he's shown for, the important ones against Manchester United, Denmark and Uruguay. It's also the amount of space he creates for his fellow strikers and his unselfish play up front. Case in point here in the second half, he's willing to play a little bit deeper, just behind Noh Alam Shah and Khairul Amri. Spray those passes, which he did delightfully in the first half. A couple of wonderful defense-splitting passes which pierced through the Laotian backline and set Noh Alam Shah free. However, Noh Alam Shah's 2 goals have come from crosses, both from his head. That could be Singapore's way to more goals in this match. There is Noh Alam Shah using Hafiz Osman. Alam Shah yet again. Back to Osman. Hafiz Osman. Hafiz looking for the deep cross. Goalkeeper was late in coming out. Khairul Amri was first to arrive, but Putpasong just made himself huge enough to prevent that from going in. Well, he's let in only 1 goal so far, Putpasong. It was Singh Pachan that let in the first 3. And Putpasong made a good save from Noh Alam Shah in the end of the first half. And here they come again. Mustafa Farudin is bulldozing his way through. The stats were showing. Well, if he gets yellow carded here, he'll be suspended for the Indonesian game, and I think it's not going to happen. Looks concerned. His opponent lying down in the penalty box. They've called for the stretcher. Referee from Myanmar, Tint, is a little lenient to Mustafa Farudin. Just bulldozed his way through, just muscled his way past his opponents. Indra Sharan it was who played the ball into his path. That was painful. Let's have a look at it. Yes, nicely poked it into his path. Noh Alam Shah made way for him. Went past one, was about to pull the trigger when 2 defenders converged on him. The stats were showing the ball was cleared by Suntalai Shishongkam. very painful indeed for the man who got it worse, Suksami Manmanipong. Approaching the 10-minute mark in this second half, and just like the first 10 minutes of the first, Singapore have got a goal to show. It's 4-0. Remember, it was 4 goals in the game between Laos and Indonesia a couple of days ago, except that match finished 3-1. So the Young Lions have got a healthy lead against the Indonesians as far as goal difference is concerned, heading into the final match. If this continues, it'll mean that they need only a draw against the Indonesians to progress in the final game. It's an opportunity here for Quezon. A shot has to come, and that was Sumpalai, the man who scored the first goal of Group B against the Indonesians. Got it on target, but into a wall of blue defenders. Indra Shadan looks one way past the other for Khairul Amri. Well, let's see what he planned. I think he had specific instructions from Radi Avramovic as he looked to the bench to play the ball across the box as fast as possible for his strikers to go to the far post, try to profit from it. Play the ball along the ground the way that Hafiz Osman did for the 4th goal. Something that Singapore failed to do in the first half. They had lots of space down the wings, but they were crossing a little too early. Get closer to the fire line, bring those low crosses in behind the defenders, because the Laotian defenders are just leaving too much space. An opportunity to drive the ball. That's an awful finish. I don't think he'll be too proud of it. He's trying to explain it to himself. It's like any good sportsman would whenever they miss. And this is what I did wrong. I went right underneath it when I should be getting my foot above the ball, or waiting for the hard volley to happen. Well, he's still got some time to go, 35 minutes at least, to make up for that. Singapore's second substitution is Isa Halim for Mustafij Farudin. Isa is a left full back who actually will be playing in his favourite position in central midfield. Noh Alam Shah caught offside for the upteenth time. Referees allowed play to go on. Well, the Laotians want free kick. A shot taken by Khairul Amri and almost caught the goalkeeper out. An enterprising effort by the number 19. And the Laotians are complaining. They were going for the assistant referee's flag, and that's a cardinal sin in football, not to play to the whistle. As easy as it goes for Singapore. It's a perfect game before they face the Indonesians. Khairul didn't do much wrong, but the referees called for a foul on Kevan Luangat. Perfect warm-up game to facing the Indonesians, isn't it? Just stretch yourself a little too much. Noh Alam Shah lays it off. Indra Shadan trying to poke it through, but it's well watched that time. There you go. The Laotian defenders are just ill-disciplined throughout the game. They haven't been keeping a very stringent back line. It's sometimes been too flat and static. The Singapore forwards have been able to beat the offside traps easily. Indra, great work from him, shielding the ball again. Shahril Ishak, Khairul Amri, back to Shahril. Space is opening up. Will the cross come in? Goes past one rather easily. Shahril, this is Indra. Great work by Indra. Shadan! Wonderful save by Putpasong. All strikers want a goal. Indra is no exception, but that was an exceptional save by the goalkeeper. He's dived full length to stop that shot from the industrious Indra. He's been everywhere on the pitch. Suksami can't recover from his injury and has been replaced. Not the best of headers, neither was it a very good clearance by Sissompon. Chitiai, not very good control, and gives away the free kick. It's the number 2 who's come on, Sulivan Ratsachak, place of Suksami Manmanipong, who has failed to recover from his injury. Control was good, It's easily taken away by Bahaki Kaizan. And here's Isa Halim. As I said, he loves the central defensive midfield position. He was usually employed as a left back for club and country. Isai committing the foul. Isa Halim is another one with a great future ahead of him. Khairul Amri. Is he going to do the crosses on? Decides to give the run around. The cutback is on. It's delivered. It's scored. And it's a hat-trick. Noh Alam Shah. The last time he got a hat-trick in this stadium was in the ASEAN Football Championships against Myanmar. He's done it again against one of the Myanmarese fiercest rivals, Laos. And that's goal number 5 for Singapore. Good work by Khairul Amri. That's what he was brought on to do. Take the defenders on, go to the byline, try to slap those crosses in, the cutbacks. He's done that to perfection. Defender in front of him, that was far too easy. And it wasn't Noh Alam Shah who finished that off. It would have been Isa Halim just behind him for his first ever goal for Singapore. The goalkeeper, Put Pasong's not too happy at all. Well, really it was a fault of the defender, Chandalapon Liampise. It was just allowed Khairul Amri to goes past him way too easily. Abramovich will be happy with the scoreline. They have one more goal to double their first half tally, or at least to match their first half tally of 3. It's 2 already, just past the hour mark, and we still have a little less than half an hour to go in this football game. It'll be a long night for the Laotians. They look tired after the first 10 minutes of the first half, looking even more tired now. Hong Sipasai's team, and he's got to swallow some humble saliva on the bench, which can be very hard to do, especially when your players are out there and the battlefield. You can't do anything about it. You have to take the brunt of it. It will be a harsh lesson to learn, especially with the 2009 SEA Games being awarded to Laos, and it's a team that they're building for 2 years' time. It does seem a long road ahead, isn't it? Lionel Lewis had time to take a touch. Here's Indra Sharan yet again. Great skill from Indra. Couldn't get past the second challenge of Hevan Wanglat. Kason using out to Isa Halim. Good work on him. The good thing about having these players like Hafiz Osman, as we have a look at Noh Alam Shah. Oh, that would have been a superb goal. Scored 2 with his head, 1 with his right peg. That would have completed the centre forward's hat-trick himself. 1 with the left, but she couldn't just get it on target. Well, he's had enough opportunities to notch up 6 already tonight. As I was saying, the good thing about putting these reserves in, like Hafiz Osman, Isa Halim, and even Itimi Dickson now for Indra Sharan, that they want to show Radi Abramovich that they're good enough to be in the starting 11, especially in the big matches, and especially if they proceed past the group stages. Indra acknowledges the applause of the public, cheered him on when his name was announced at the start. They missed him in the opening game against Vietnam. Itimi Dickson, who came on in the last 15 minutes against the Vietnamese, now has got a longer time against Laos to maybe even score a goal, something which he failed to do at the last ASEAN Football Championships. His friend at the last Football Championships, Agul Kashmir, has been banned from local football for a year for his very own indiscretions. Different player that they have on the bench. It must was one was Masturi this time around. Onside yet again. And an opportunity for Khairul Amri. He really should have made it 6. It's 2 opportunities for him already, Khairul Amri, since he's come on. To be fair to him, he's made the goal, but the marking once again is so poor. And Noh Alam Shah, who's been caught offside a couple of times, just finds himself with so much space. The inquest come in between goalkeeper Put Pasong, Senakon Vieng and Kamchai. But how did they allow Noh Alam Shah that much space? Noh Alam Shah selfishly wanted to play Khairul in since he gave him the opportunity for the hat-trick. Ball's just stuck under Khairul's feet as he slid in. Decided to throw in. Surely it's a throw in to Laos. Visai is very unlucky not to get the call his way from the Myanmarese referee Tint. It's just past the 20-minute mark. Singapore 5-0 up against Laos. Cruising here really. Not the best of passes by Shahril Ishak. Cutouts, but momentarily only losing possession. Quezon giving it right back. Daniel Bennett keeping the move alive with Itimi Dickson. Nice ball, good off the ball running by Noh Alam Shah. Nice reverse pass. Dickson losing it out. The shot is on now. If they decide to take it, decide to cross it instead. Here's Noh Alam Shah. Well, did take down the cross well, but too many players around him. Dickson with the opportunity to cross. It's a very poor one. It's easily cut out. It's one huge criticism of Itimi Dickson, isn't it? He gets into those positions. He's got all the pace in the world. But he just doesn't deliver the perfect cross or any sort of cross at all for the defenders to challenge with. Daniel Bennett loses possession of the football. It's well fought back. Here is Shahril Ishak. Lovely pass into space for Itimi Dickson. What sort of a cross can he give? It's a much better one. What happens, you can finally ping one in the penalty box, make the defenders work at least. Bennett, he wants to come forward as much as possible in a game like this to try to register his first goal of the competition, having scored a couple of scorches the last tournament, most notably against Myanmar in the semi-finals and Indonesia, the grand final. 5-0, hat-trick for Noh Alam Shah, a goal each for Muhammad Ridhuan and Shahril Ishak. No goal for Indra Shadan in his first competitive start since injuring his knee, collapsing heavily against Malaysia half a year ago. Hafiz done well so far. It's a sort of game that you like to be blooded into, isn't it? Making a debut in a competitive football for senior side at the ASEAN Football Championships. It's trouble-free. Not the best of passes by Itimi Dickson. Khairul Amri came in too enthusiastically with a stud showing on Sisompon Satonyot. He is 23 and one of the older players on the side. Well, he'll be 23 this year. In case he missed out on the first half, 16 of the 23 players registered in Laos are below the age of 20. One of them is going to be replaced now. He'll be 20 this year, Quezon Sukhamong, and he really has shown good skill on the ball, but he's been so tired. He's been out of the game in this second half. He will be replaced by Kita Sisvan. It's the final replacement for Laos. He'll try to see the match out. 5-0 down. Remember, in the last ASEAN Football Championships, they conceded 6 to Singapore, but they did score 2 in that match. Can they score 1 here? Visai. Oh, it's his weaker left foot. Lionel Lewis won't be too happy that he actually had the opportunity to take a pot shot and goal. Actually, he had 3 opportunities against Lionel in the first half. Lionel was heard and seen screaming at his central defenders then. Almost had nothing to do at all, Lionel Lewis. You almost feel that the Singapore goalkeeper can actually pick up a handphone and start SMSing or maybe even calling his friends there, and the Laotians won't do anything about it. That's how trouble-free he has been. By Haki. Taken on the chest by Noh Alam Shah. He's trying to divert it to Shu Jiayi. Failed to do so. And they finally make Lionel Lewis look. No, they can't. Precious. Here is Hafiz Osman. Finally, Lionel's got something to do. Well, the washing lady will be quite happy with Lionel Lewis's jersey tonight. It's absolutely spotless. Nice pass. Khairul Amri tried to work the 1-2 with Noh Alam Shah, who turned the other way instead. Went for the clip pass. Can he keep it in play? He has to. Isa Halim. Oh, lovely cross! And finally, Khairul Amri gets his goal. What a cross by Hafiz Osman. No wonder he's ecstatic with it, and he should be. It's what he has brought in the team to do. Going forward, he's much better than S. Subramani. Abramovich probably knew that, and he is speechless, Setong Sipasi. Sympathies go out to him. And Khairul Amri is so delighted. How about this for a cross? Just whipped in the right amount of curl in between the defender and goalkeeper. Nightmarish for Putpasong. And Khairul just had to put foot to ball into the roof of the net. 6-0. 21 goals in the S League. A memorable strike against Iraq 11 months ago on this very same ground. And now he's opened his counts in the Tiger Cup, or should I say the ASEAN Football Championships. He did score in the final against Indonesia. Remember, he has another opportunity, and it's 2 goals in as many minutes. Noh Alam Shah's got his 4th, and Singapore have got their 7th. Keep your counts. They're delighted on the bench. The Indonesians and Vietnamese were watching the game, and they left at half-time thinking that Singapore might not add on too much to their 3 goals scored, but it's turning into an avalanche. And it's so easy. The marking once again is so poor. Look at that. No one around Noh Alam Shah, and if Alam Shah had missed that, behind him there's another opportunity for Khairul Amri to get his 2nd. Look at that slip shot, isn't it? 3 defenders there, all ball watching, and they're not even close to one another to put any bodily challenge on Noh Alam Shah. 4 goals and a hat-trick of headers, one with his right foot, but really his aerial ability has hurt Laos deeply tonight. Great shot there of Indra Shadan, and speaks volumes of the man himself. He's so happy his strike partner has scored his 4th goal, and he's just 4 goals away actually from equaling Indra's total for the number of goals scored for a country, having played much less games than Indra has. Then again, the Indra Shadan supporters will say and argue that Indra has got the ones against the big teams, but a goal is a goal. All strikers will tell you that. Noh Alam Shah is just reveling in the media limelight. The headlights will certainly be on him tonight. Haji Abramovich, well, he should be happy, but he's not one to show his happy emotions too easily. But get him in mood which is not too pleasing, and he'll be the first to show you that. Very tough coach to play for, but a real drill and taskmaster, and that's the reason why Singapore are the defending champions of the ASEAN Football Championships. Setong is building for the future, but even he can't stomach this much. The Laotian bench are silent and looking from the stands. A couple of them are just laying flat on the floor. They just cannot believe the scoreline. It begs the question yet again whether players should play 2 games in as many days. They played on Saturday, they played on Monday, and and they're going to play on Wednesday again. Now, is there enough rest, especially for a team like Laos? The bench is not as deep as the other big guns. He's had too many matches in a row. And remember, we're into the monsoon season in Southeast Asia. They're playing on pitches that are very, very heavy. Just like Saturday, the rain stopped before the matches went on. As if the gods wanted to watch some football. They did so on Saturday. They didn't really enjoy the Singapore-Vietnam match, but they won't be complaining about this. It stopped half an hour before the opening game, and if you've just joined us, it finished 1-1 between Vietnam and Indonesia. Vietnam taking the lead in the first half, Indonesia scoring late in the second half. Khairul Amri getting himself into a tight spot, keeping the ball in play. Well, the Laotians thought the ball had gone out, allowed him to carry on. The defending is shambolic, and Noh Alam Shah is just profiting from it. Arms akimbo, questions asked. Really, they wouldn't want to look at the replay of the last couple of goals too much. At least all the goals that they've conceded in the second half. Sena Kwanvieng thought the ball had gone out and allowed Amri to just run past him. Lifted his hand, didn't get the decision, and didn't make a fight out of it. And was that an own goal? Was that last touch by a Laotian? That would certainly add salt to the wound. No, let's put it down as a goal for Noh Alam Shah. But that's what Radi Abramovich asked the team to do in the second half, just to get behind the defenders a little bit more and put the ball in between defenders and goalkeeper, which, to be fair to his charges, Singapore have done very well. And they're now at 8-0 with 13 minutes left. It's even more scary for the Laotians to hear that. They're still trying though. Suntalai Chesongham after that goal. Stretching exercises for Lionel Lewis. It's a measure of respect from Abramovich not to play a second choice goalkeeper Hassan Sani in this game, to put Lionel Lewis, but Lionel certainly has nothing to do. And whatever the AFC have done to make the ASEAN Football Championships more competitive, reducing it to a 4-team group, making sure the minnows had to go through a 5-team qualification process. Singapore have just really put a real slap on the faces by dominating and scoring 8 in this game. Nothing much has changed, has it? Shujiai, space opening for Khairul Amri. Itimi Dickson. Oh, here come the somersaults. Not the most beautiful of somersaults. And he knows that too, I think. And it's that same method to goal. The ball played behind the defenders, in front of the goalkeeper, and the onrushing striker wins. The line was very poor yet again. Khairul Amri was onside, and just any ball inside the box would suffice. He played one which fizzed, and Itimi Dickson controlled it well enough to put it into the roof of the net. 9-0. It's a little improvisation there. There's his somersaults. It didn't land right. Just to make it more stylish than what it seemed. Now they're just spraying the balls around. The crowd won a double-digit scoreline. Daniel Bennett comes forward. To the credit of the Laotians, even though they haven't fought much, well, Daniel Bennett, he wants a double-digit scoreline too. But to the credit of the Laotians, they haven't lost their cool, and they haven't come lunging in with challenges that are scathing or malicious in any sort of way. It has been a very clean match. very easy to get frustrated and lose your cool and temper, especially for a young, inexperienced side like the Laotians, average age of 19. But they haven't done that, and in some ways you can say that they have maintained their dignity. But the scoreline, well, it's hard to go off with your head held high after this mauling. This has turned into a bully, really. So what's the AFC going to do after this? Is it going to be a 6-team championship with the Philippines and Laos conceding goals for fun? Or are they still going to keep it as an 8-team championship with a 5-team qualifying process? Where the bottom teams of this year's ASEAN Football Championships have to be put inside that bottom 5 too. Will most definitely be Laos and the Philippines again. Itimi Dickson, the crowd cheering every pass. The Laotians are getting a little bit impatient. The crowd are impatient enough to one another. I'm actually scratching my head here to think of the last time Singapore put 10 goals past the team, at least at the National Stadium. Certainly hasn't happened in the last couple of decades. I don't think they've ever put 10 goals past any team, at least in this stadium. It opened in 1973. Winning the ASEAN Football Championships will be a perfect send-off for one of the historical landmarks in Singapore sports, National Stadium. Sadly enough, though, it's only 10% filled today. It's a little over 6,000 people in the stands watching the most impressive Singapore scoreline in years. No matter the manner of the opposition. The chants of "We want 10" coming from the crowd. They're just playing it around. The Laotians have certainly given up hope, that's for sure. Well, with the 9 goals scored, Singapore have now scored 24 goals. The last 4 something matches against Laos. 15 goals before the match today, now 24, and they still have another 8 minutes. Another torturous 8 minutes, one might say. Referee says play on. Well, he's still as competitive. Isa Halim doesn't get to play much for the national side, and maybe that's the reason why we'll debate almost every call. It's a good way, as I said earlier, to face Indonesia. Just to get that little kickabout practice. Stretch the muscles a little bit, not to exert yourself too much. You can tell from the way Laos played today, they just totally exhausted themselves in that game against the Indonesians. Interesting ball, and Lewis likes to dirty his jersey a little bit so that he can be part of the team. That's about all there is to it. They were leading 1-0 against the Indonesians in the first match, Laos. That first half display has taken all the gas out of them. They couldn't hold on in the second half. And against Singapore, they couldn't hold on since they conceded one in the 9th minute of play. Nice little turn by Visai, the captain. Chance, and the shot is on. Not confident enough to take it on the left foot. Pressure it was. He was trying to usher it into that left foot, inviting him to take a shot at goal. Didn't happen. The tricks starting to show. Itimi Dickson, that little backfield. Long ball looking for Khairul Amri, easily cut off. If anything else, the goals will give Singapore all the confidence in the world. It must have been very close as Visai tried to beat the Singapore offside trap again. There still is a little worry for the Singapore back line. They can be caught for pace, and I think most teams who have seen the Lions play know that now. But they always say goals will do you good, and confidence will be sky high, especially Noh Alam Shah. And that little strut on the pitch, they face the Indonesians. A little less pressure as well. Good ball by Itimi Dickson. Hafiz has created 2 goals. He'll put that down in his resume. Tried to be a little too cheeky. Failed to do so. Ball get in off Kita Tisman. Into Singapore, looking for goal number 10, Shahril Ishak. They have to guard against being too cocky. They do sympathize with the Laotians. They came with a game plan, stifled the midfield, packed the centre. What they didn't ask for was some inept defending down the flanks and inability to stay alert, holding the back line. Because of that, taking the mauling, sad to say, competitive football just cannot be diplomatic about things, especially when goal difference could be the key. There's some space, the cross comes in. Oh, Lionel Lewis finally could get himself to it, but you won't appreciate the defending then. The line decided to almost latch on that cross by Sompon. Bennett. Walking practice pace. They take to the pitch against Peter Witt's Indonesia. The Indonesians need to win to stay in the picture. Singapore need only a draw to progress. Unless Vietnam score a barrage of goals the way Singapore have done, then Singapore just need a draw to top the group. By the time they play their match on Wednesday, they would know whether they'll face Myanmar, Indonesia. Another ball coming here, surely that's number 10. It's that combination of Khairul and Noh Alam Shah. It's a volley from Noh Alam Shah, and the marking so poor yet again. Khairul peeled away from his marker, and once he took that man alongside him, Noh Alam Shah just used that as a marker to stay onside, and no one followed him. You feel sorry for Kun Pasong. Hero tonight with 6 goals, a double hat-trick. There we go, look at the marking. Where was it? Wasn't even close to making a challenge to Noh Alam Shah. They just gave up on it and allowed Noh Alam Shah all the space and time in the world to place his shot. 10-0. They have reached double digits. Abramovich has thrown diplomacy out of the window, and they've gone for the big scoreline. Now Indonesia will need to win against Singapore in their final match to stay alive in the ASEAN Football Championships. Either that, or hope that the Laotians hold the Vietnamese to either a draw or 1-goal scoreline, which judging from this display, just don't see that happening, do you? Shahril Ishak. There's going to be 2 minutes of time added on. Too showy by Noh Alam Shah. Dickson retrieving loose ball. He'll go all the way back to Lionel Lewis, although he's putting the goalkeeper in some sort of trouble here. Unnecessary back pass. 80 meters, he had to go with that. Do take note though, the Indonesians, the last ASEAN Football Championships, beat the host nation Vietnam on their home ground by 3-0 to progress into the next stage. So it's not going to be a stroll in the park on Wednesday, but it's a magnificent Monday for the Lions and a perfect 10 to remember. Or is it going to be an electric 11? The last minute and a half of play. It's kept on. Khairul Amri is asking for the ball. Oh, they're defending yet again. Noh Alam Shah. It's Khairul. Oh! Khairul was asking for the cutback. Alam Shah says, I couldn't wait for it any longer. And he went for the far post. Goalkeeper couldn't get to it, but it was not on target. It's just symbolic, isn't it? Kam Chai, Nam Tapi Sai. Goalkeeper will say that he would have covered that and got to the ball. Seconds remain of a night that the Laotians will want to forget. Nights that these youngsters will say will teach them a huge and valuable lesson going into hosting the 2009 SEA Games. That is what they're building this side for. But until then, they have to deal with scorelines like this. They did themselves proud against Indonesia, but they just crumbled tonight. Onside yet again, they play him on. Khairul Amri making the angle for the shot. It comes in! Off the bar, was it a goal? It wasn't. Noh Alam Shah picks up the loose pieces, and it's 11-0 for Singapore. He had the opportunity and all the time in the world, but he wanted to tell his grandchildren that he scored a bicycle kick at the National Stadium, so why not end it off in a spectacular way? 7 of the 11 goals scored by Noh Alam Shah off the crossbar. In fact, it's the second time that Singapore struck the crossbar tonight. Khairul Amri defending shambolic yet again. Sisompon kept him onside. Was this a goal in the first place? No, it wasn't. It was off the crossbar, off the line. That one definitely went in by Noh Alam Shah. The final whistle from the referee. Singapore have scored 11 goals and are now clear leaders of Group B in the ASEAN Football Championships. They need a draw only against Indonesia in a couple of days' time to ensure qualification as the top team in Group B. The Indonesians will need a victory to knock Singapore out of this tournament. So for the Indonesians, it's as simple as that. And the Singaporeans will have a perfect tonic and warm-up to that match. It was a stroll in the park for Radi Abramovich's men. Laotians will go home and try their very best not to remember this day. It'll be hard to forget and hard to stomach as they face Vietnam in their final match. The goalkeeper, Putpasong Singdalavong, is only 19 years old. He'll turn 19 this year, and he's let in 8 out of the 11 goals. It's a double-digit scoreline. It's Laos's worst defeat in Southeast Asian football. But for the Lions, maybe this will get the crowd back to the National Stadium again for their final encounter against the Indonesians. A draw in that one for top placing, a win needed for the Indonesians to go through. It's getting very interesting in the 2007 edition of the ASEAN Football Championships. Final score from the National Stadium. Singapore have walloped Laos by 11 goals to nil. 7 of those goals scored by Noh Alam Shah.